there's just so much to think about from that talk. So many things that came into my mind. I don't know about you, but so many things came into my mind while you were talking. And one of them was, I used to stay in a Gandhian ashram, and on the wall there was always these different expressions and different quotes. And one of them was, the earth has enough for every man's need, but not for every man's greed. And I'm from a generation where we used to, it was kind of like a rite of passage. We used to set out, I didn't do it, not all the way, but some of my friends did. Has anybody here been overland from Australia to Europe? Yeah? Wow. You're not old enough to be a hippie. The yellow book, yeah. Maybe you can tell us some more about that in it. Yeah? So I think obviously you're here tonight because you're drawn to this topic, and you have been thinking about it yourselves. And I just had a few thoughts. I don't have the answers, but I have a lot of questions, and a lot of thoughts have been floating around in my mind as we've been chatting, and people just like us, and as I've been thinking about this subject, and also about the situation with what we're doing to refugees. And I think I'll just chat a little bit while they're getting the films together, and then afterwards I'd really like everyone in the room to talk with each other, and we can have Q&A, and I hope that there's plenty of time for discussion. So I've just been thinking about this, and I'm sure you all are aware that we all walked out of Africa. And there was no sovereign borders in those days. There was no ring of steel. When things needed to, when there was a problem with the climate or something happened, people just kept walking. So times have changed. Just that thing about a different country saying, "Oh, you're sure the Germans are all right? That you've got to watch those Germans." When I lived in Indonesia, I lived in Bali, and you know, if you lose your pencil or misplace your cup or something, they'd say, "Ooh, must have been a Javanese. I saw one go that way." And so there's always this suspicion about the people over there. So then just I was thinking about Australia's very own myths that we have about foreigners, and I remember that we've had these, just even in my lifetime and before my lifetime, we've had the fear mongering about the yellow peril, and then there was the red devils, reds under the bed, and all sorts of things. The Asian hordes were going to come and take your job, and you know, steal your daughter, and all sorts of things like that. In my lifetime, I've experienced, and there still is today, I mean, I walk around with a white skin on every day and have a different experience from people who walk around with a different skin on. And I am aware that there is white privilege, that there's ways that people see me and see people who are not white in different ways. And I think I'm asking us all tonight here living in Australia to think about these things, because as we're coming on in a minute to see films about how we're treating people at our borders, we need to think about, is it more about us? Not so. Can I finish talking? Oh, well, I feel like I'm being interrogated. Oh my God, Mr. Dutton, what do you want?
I'll give you the go ahead.
I'm nearly finished, yeah. So these are just things for you to think about as you're watching the films. Right at this very moment, 1 million people are in the air flying at this very moment. So at any one moment, over 1 million people are flying in the sky, travelling on holidays, business trips or something. So the world has got the capacity to move people fast if it wants to. Right now also there are only 700,000 Rohingya trapped in the camps in Bangladesh. Not even as many as the number who are flying in the sky at this very moment. There are 1,200 men, women and children left on Manus and Nauru. It's not many. There are only 14,000 people waiting in Indonesia to find settlement in a safe place. There are 250,000 normal migrants who come to Australia every year. On top of that, there are around 600,000 work and student visas who come every year to Australia. That makes a total of about 800,000 or so people coming into our country every year. I looked out at the sky and it hadn't fallen in. There are 64,000 visa overstayers in Australia. I just wanted you to think about, can you imagine, what do you think would happen if a lot of those people did come? What would happen if we took all the people in Indonesia? Do you think we'd survive it, actually? I just wanted to thank Kedar again for that fantastic adventure that you've had. It reminded me of John Lennon's song, Imagine. So I want you to think a little bit while you're watching these films, just think about Imagine and what we can do. How can we think of a different direction? Because if you don't have a dream, then you can't have a dream come true. So let's see, please enjoy these films. And well, I don't know if enjoy is the right word, but anyway, then afterwards I hope we're going to have discussion. Thank you.